first question is, what is the best exercise to connect with spirit? Well, it's an exercise that we need to learn. We need to learn to relax and settle down, and there's different techniques, breathing techniques, different meditation sessions are all there to help you to get you to the state of becoming more attuned to the world of spirit. Of course, you need a good teacher, you need a good group, and when you're there you'll find it slowly and gently, like most things we have to learn, it comes in time. Okay, so most of it is down to being relaxed, finding that time if you're going to do it on your own, but do suggest you go to a group, relaxation, and then once you're a little bit more relaxed you can then try and becoming more attuned to that world of spirit. But remember, you're always in control, and therefore those lessons are slow but sure, and you can win through in the end. So practice, practice and practice will make this wonderful ability even more stronger than you have now. I hope that helps. How do I know if my connection to spirit is with a positive spirit or a negative spirit? Well, that's a really good question, because most times it's something we may experience in the early days of meditation, where we go, oh, I didn't like the look of that, oh, that didn't feel nice. Well, spirit only gives us support, love and guidance. That's it. So anything else is not really finding the right attunement to the right level. And the only thing I can relate it to is sometimes flicking through your TV channels and go, oh, I don't like that program, don't like it. You make the decisions on those levels. If you're not happy, come out and go back in. And it's just a practice of learning time and time again until you get really happy and you know you're connecting to a good level, to those good spirits, all that support, love and guidance that's out for you. Our next question is, can a spirit guide be someone that we've known that's passed over and is now in the spirit world? Can that person be a guide to us? Well, in some senses they can, because they love us, they connect to us. But in the all real essence, we have those guides already for us. And we have to think of them sometimes like teachers that we may have had at school or college or university or wherever we had. When we got to a certain level, we had new guides and helpers, new lecturers, new teachers, however you see it. So someone that loved you upon the earth plane and goes to the spirit plane will draw close to you to help and guide you. They will assist those guys that are already working for you, already getting you on your pathway, helping you with intuition so you make the right decisions in life, not them. They're there to guide and help you. So that's a really good question, but the more and more practice, the more that you're going to just tune into those lovely, spiritual, happy vibrations, not just feeling it, sensing it and seeing it. My next question is, how can I let the spirits know that in that moment I don't want to speak with them? Well, you make that commitment to yourself when you do your meditation. Set a time, a day, or if you're in a class then you will follow that time. And after that you make a decision whether you want to make that connection because you've sensed something or not. My advice is don't. When we leave this office we turn the lights out. You should do the same with your spiritual lights as well. Your spiritual aura needs to be back into balance with your material aura, your own energy that way. So you can get on with life and not have your head in the clouds, but only connect there when it's the right time to do that. So you have to make conscious decisions when you want to connect with spirit, not the last thing at night, which happens to some people, not the first thing in the morning, and not halfway through the night if you're waking up. To move forward, we set the times, we work with spirit when we feel right to it. So if you get something you don't like, or you don't want to communicate, you go, not now, let's try it at this time. They're aware of that, but sometimes we send that thought out and it's acted upon. So you call the shots, you take the time to meditate, and you take the time to disconnect if you want to. Really good question here that's come. How can our past lives influence our future life today? So what effect does our past lives have on our life today? Probably everything, I would say, in that essence. Although past lives, understanding them is not important, but our past lives got us to where we are today. A different set of life lessons to learn, and hopefully we're more sensitive to others and sensitive to ourselves. So our past lives we learned lessons in, or if we didn't learn them all, well, we may have a few more on our things to do list this time. So we have to understand that the more we become spiritually aware, we're not doing it just for ourselves, we're doing it for everyone that's already out there. Okay? My next question is, can I change my karma by doing regression? The simple answer to that is no. Whatever happened in your past life is not really influencing your future life beyond what you're experiencing now, if that sort of makes sense. So by doing regression, maybe looking at your past lives, may give you a few indicators, but it won't move you forward spiritually. If you want to move forward spiritually, do nice things. Nice meditations, a little bit of absent healing. Be dedicated to the skill that you're going to learn, a very natural skill. Like anyone who learns a trade, keep it in that principle. As you learn it, you'll get better and better, and things won't be so hard to do. So once again, it's that old adage of practice, practice, more practice, a good teacher, a good group, sending out some nice thoughts, and really being more open in yourself all the time, really taking your time for others, and not giving the messages only when that is applicable in groups. So don't go around giving everyone a message because you've seen something. That's not the way to do it. Okay? A very interesting question I've been given this time is, can you please tell me why some churches are against mediums? And the person said, I have found them to be fantastic, positive people who help people in the time of need, or in their time of need. Well, that's a session in itself, something we may do for Spirit and Spirit, but in all honesty, sometimes we have to accept people have different pathways in life. We have to accept that they may not want to find out about that spiritual guidance. It's there for everyone, no matter what your religion happens to be, no matter what you grow up with. Sometimes what you grow up with in a religion is not the religion or the faith or understanding you have now. And many of you would have experienced that. Maybe you want to share that on some of the comments below. So the pathways change for us. And some churches have their own disciplines, their own rules, their own guidelines. But there is a heaven for all of us, no matter what our religion is. And there is true guidance from those levels, if you listen and you work through it. But if you feel uncomfortable with that, then you don't have to follow that principle. But I know a lot of people that have come from very orthodox churches, who come to our churches, can't tell their ministers, priests, about where they're going, because it wouldn't be seen correct. But they know in their heart that this is the place to be, where they find real love and that real spiritual connection. So while they're getting too deep into this, that becomes their problem. If you want to grow beyond the church where you are, you feel you want to explore, that's fine. Ask the questions, leave a message. I will do my best to answer them for you. If it's not the right time for you to discover that, that's fine. But realise that that spiritual guidance is there for all of us. And I know a lot of people in many different religions actually understand this. So look at their Bibles, their holy books in a deeper way, and there's lots of correlation between many of them. But sometimes the hardline rule facts say, no, this is not right, this is evil, this is all the rest. If that's what you believe, and that's your fear, through lack of knowledge, that has to be your pathway. But I know many people from all sorts of religions who enjoy a spiritual development, and sometimes a spiritual insight, and also support from the world of spirit. So I leave that with you. I'm not trying to change anyone, but I can say that over the last 30 odd years plus, so many people have stepped over that barrier of ignorance or lack of knowledge or fear and explored it. And if it's still not for you, it's not for you. But it may be in another life. Really good question again. How long does it take for a spirit to arrive in the spirit world after they've died? Well, the easy answer to that is instantly. Today I was speaking to someone in India with the same problem, asking how quickly can their loved one communicate with those up on the earth plane, and how quickly will they recognise where they are. Well, no one goes on that journey alone, and this was a conversation that came out of today. That person's loved one was there with them and helped them to that better understanding, to that spiritual life that is a continuation. So, you know, it's instant. They may not recognise it, that person that passes over, because of the faith or the doctrines that have come from that faith, that maybe once you're dead, you're dead. But that's their belief or understanding. But it's such a wonderful insight to see these people who go to the world of spirit, heaven, nirvana, wherever you want to call it, and realise that that personality survives. that soul energy survives and goes forward. And I know even just recently it has been trying, in one particular instance, connecting to the family it left behind, if they're sensitive enough to accept it and understand it. So let's just say no one ever goes to the spirit world on their own. No one passes on their own, even if they're isolated. Loved ones, guides and helpers are always there when it's that moment to pass over. So I hope that gives you some reassurance, because many people come to a spiritualist movement to search for that, even if they don't believe it, out of desperation, out of bereavement. But you don't have to go to that. Find your own truths. If you're not sure, send us a question in. I'll do my best to help you. My experience is that I took all this as a trade and learned as much as I could over these years, and had some wonderful evidence for many different people. So I'll leave that decision-making process with yourself. We're now talking about a question that comes from someone who's just started to do meditation, and they're saying, I always tried too hard and felt it difficult when I started the training. Why did this happen? Well, it may be down to the whole time we're learnt our life lessons, we're learnt our schooling, that we have to retain that information, we have to validate it, we're not told to be sensitive at those times, we learn to take all that information out, use it and repeat it, data store it and return it back. So that's why we find it so difficult, because when we attune to the world of spirit, when we tune to our inner self, our spiritual self, we feel that nice, warm energy. How often have we just drifted off, maybe in our minds, maybe at a beautiful place somewhere in the world, and felt really connected and loved, or felt that love but couldn't explain why we're feeling that love. That's when we connected to ourselves and maybe to our other loved ones who've come close to try and inspire us. So don't try too hard. It's almost sitting in meditation in a passive state. Although actively we open up, we actually submissively open up to a thought process and say, let's see what comes in. Let me have a sense. And often getting feedback in the groups just recently was a great way of sharing what they were experiencing. You could see that connection with others, where people going, yeah, I felt like that, I connected with that. Yeah, that makes sense, I was feeling that. So once again, get yourself into a group, get yourself with a good teacher and let them feedback their information for you, so you know exactly what you're picking up. Because sometimes it's sensing, sometimes it's those tactile indicators we talk of, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, all of those particular things. So enjoy your pathway to spiritual truth. My question to you is, what have your experiences been so far? Maybe based on some of the questions asked today. Why not leave a message below or send me an email to AskAdrian2reply@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.